Listen, before we get into anything, I think a lot of the fans would be expecting me to ask about the fact that you are expecting Alyssa, because you posted about this on social media yesterday.
Yeah.
Massive congratulations. But yeah, talk to me more about this big news from the Bordens.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just something we talked about during the race that the race was like the one big thing we wanted to do before we started this journey. And we're so just like lucky and grateful that we got back. We enjoyed our summer. And then in October, we found out we were pregnant. And it was one of those things we kind of wanted to keep to ourselves for a little bit and just enjoy, watch the season play out, watch us talk about how we wanted to do this after. And then at the end, be like, we did it. And this is our next journey. So we're really excited.
That
Yeah.
makes me so happy. Well, let's talk about what got you on this journey in the first place. I would love to hear from you too. What was your history with The Amazing Race, and what made one or both of you decide to make that leap, quite literally off the couch from viewer to team?
Yeah. First of all, Mike, I gotta say it was so cool meeting you yesterday.
I
Like
know.
seeing you, just it's just like wow. I don't watch the YouTube videos, so I don't have a face to the voice. I listen to podcasts, and I love podcasts. So seeing you and hearing your voice and
We're
Jess was
like,
like, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so
I do have
wild.
a face for podcasting. Yeah, now you say it.
I, I was like, oh my gosh, the physical presence of
Thank
these
you,
people. So
thank you.
it's so cool. So our past with Amazing Race, we both grew up watching it. So like when we were kids, I mean, I grew up watching Survivor and The Amazing Race, and she grew up watching Survivor and The Amazing Race, and that was it. And I never thought I'd go on The Amazing Race ever because I am the world's worst person at directions. So I never even applied. I never thought there was any chance I would lose. This is day one. I'm horrible at directions. I meet Alyssa. We fall in love. We watch The Amazing Race together, and then we're just like talking about like what we would do on the season. Oh, this and this. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm horrible directions. And she's like, I would navigate. And like, that's what you do with reality TV. You watch and you
Mhm.
put yourself in people's shoes, and you're like, how would I do this differently? Would I do this better or worse? It's so fun that way. And then as we're doing that, I'm starting to realize like we should go for this. Like we should apply. And she was like, no, like we shouldn't apply. Like that's insane. And I was like, no, let's be insane. Let's go for it. Let's do it. And it worked out. And it was a dream come true for both of us.
yeah, and once we decided we wanted to do it, it was like we had to do
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
Like it was our obsession. And I mean, I feel like the luckiest two people in
I
the world to
yeah.
get to have done it because it was everything we wanted it to be and so much more. And to do it together, to have these memories forever, to get to share this with our kids someday, like it's
Uh,
so special.
if we just had $1 million now, but I'm waiting for a Venmo.
There you go, exactly. Jack and Carson, you put that request out.
I
Well,
did.
yeah, well, let's fast forward to the end here because I don't want to say this last leg was uncharacteristic for the two of you because again, an edit sort of is never a massive representation of who you are. But it's so intriguing that I think throughout the race we saw a lot of incredibly consistent behavior from the two of you, both in performance, in temperament, etc. But like. I don't know. A moment that's a slice of that is that Josiah, like your usual chipper persona, you were incredibly just on pins and needles the entire leg. Where did this mood come from? Was it a shift in mood, and was it prompted along by just the stakes of it, the way the leg was going?
Yeah, Mike, it was a massive shift in mood. And it was, and Alyssa noticed it, and I tell her on the train track, and they actually show it. I say, I'm just so tense, and I felt that the entire leg, and we had an hour and a half lead, and I just felt tense the entire time. And I'll tell you what, I know Alyssa so well. She is a competitor at heart, and she's like extremely confident, and rightfully so.
Hmm.
But I know the shift of momentum that can happen in sports and like in anything when you have like an hour and a half lead and if someone shows up and I said that over and over again even though we were like an hour and a half lead. I just wanted to keep us worried. I wanted to stay nervous. And then I got tense because of it. And then sure enough, it happened. And like that actually when that happened, when Jonathan and Anna showed up, I returned back to my normal self because it was like
Hmm.
I was afraid of this happening the entire day. Anyone, not just Jonathan and Anna, I was afraid whoever was behind us for an hour and a half was going to catch up.
Right.
I knew at that point it was Jonathan and Anna. When it happened, I returned to my normal self because the worst case scenario happened. And that's when I felt back to my normal self. And I was like, let's do this. We got this. But you're right. I did feel different the whole day. I felt tense and it was high stakes. It was a beast competition. That top five was just a group of people that I don't ever want to run again, ever again, compete in anything. So that's what it was. You're absolutely right. You nailed it. It was different.
Well, I think Alyssa, you also pointed something out in last week's episode, which is this idea that I think in terms of your dynamic in general, you kept a lot of tension and perhaps disagreements sort of like for the car ride. You didn't necessarily have that translate to the task in general, which I think helped you both a lot in that like you were able to kind of, maybe this is the medical mindset of you, right? Like put your head down, get the job done, worry about the personal stuff later. Again, maybe a little different in that last leg with everything that was going on with the kayak, but talk to me a bit more about that. Was that part of your secret to success, the ability to kind of compartmentalize those feelings?
I think when we were working on a challenge, like we felt like we were so good. We were good at the challenges. We felt pretty confident there, and also we were together. I felt like when we were in the car, the pressure was all on me because I was the navigator. And
Mm,
as much as I do feel pretty good about navigating, and we showed our strengths in navigating, and like the first self-driving leg was Bulgaria, and that was our first
that
place.
was your
Like
first
we
place, yeah.
crushed it. So we were good at it, but I feel like that's when I was feeling the most amount of pressure. And before the race, I was the first person to tell everyone, like in our interviews, I'm so good under stress. I do anesthesia. I was a Division 1 athlete. Like I know how to handle stress. That stress when you're sitting in the back of the car in Portugal and you're lost and you're in the final four, like it's something I never felt before. And honestly, I just didn't want to let Josiah down. And not that navigation was the nail in the coffin for us, but it was definitely part of it. So it was just like very stressful in those moments trying to just focus on what we had to do, but also like get over my anxiety about it and like the pressure of it all. And I think that's why like the car was very tense for us.
Yeah, I'm intrigued because, again, especially compared to other romantic couples in this season, we did not see a lot of like tension between the two of you. There was stuff with the express pass and, like I mentioned, the kayaking, but very much the exception to the rule. But Josiah, you talk about the fact that ordinarily you two work completely separately, and so I imagine it was a bit of a grand experiment to see how you would work together. Was it sort of like as much of a silky smooth dynamic in the race proper as we were sort of given in the edit most of the time?
So I have to be honest, and yes, it really was. And
Mm,
and to be honest, it is a reflection of us in our normal life. And but I want to highlight that also the raft is a reflection of us in our normal life. And
mm.
I want to scream to the rooftops. And I told people in production because like when we were doing the interviews to get on the show, they're like, "Do you all fight?" And I said, "We so proud. I'm so proud of the fact that we fight. We're passionate people, and we're allowed to have different opinions, and we voice them." Like unabashedly and unafraid to do that. And you see it in the raft. I didn't show, but Alyssa called me a dick. You know, she was like, "Don't be a dick to prove a point." And you know what I was being like? I was being a dick to prove a point. So like,
Mm.
I love that we had that dynamic in that relationship, and I think that really it was a good representation overall. Most days, almost every day, we just run along smoothly. Like, and it's the hardest part is like when we're on two different paths. When we think something different, we want to align, and sometimes you have to cave to the other person. And but to do that, you got to fight it out and show your opinion and show your voice. And we both do that, and we're not afraid to say that we do fight. And I'm very proud of that. So yeah, I think it was a great representation overall.
And I have to give Josiah a lot of credit because there were moments where I was spiraling and he I mean you see it. He
Mm.
pulls me back in. Like there's moments where I'm about to snap and he'll just look at me and be like, "We got this. And I love you. And you're the best partner." And it's like how in those moments do you let that just spiral into like negativity and chaos? Like of course that brought us back. Of course that like helped me refocus and like that's just having a great partner and I was really lucky to have that because I need someone like that a lot.
And I used to someone to call me a dick sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Bring it back
like
down to earth.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned before your consistency. This shows in your track record. Before your elimination, you were the only team this season to never place in the bottom two teams. And listen, Alyssa, it sounds like in those interviews that was something that you were totally calling from the beginning. I mean, you're shaking your head about this, but yeah, give me your thoughts about like how did the results measure up to your expectations, and what would you say was sort of the secret to your consistent success on the race?
It's like crazy to hear something like that because I think we realized we were good, but I don't think we gave ourselves much credit during the
Hmm.
race. And like I didn't have like Josiah was like, I believe in us. Like we can do this. We can win this whole thing. And I would be out there and I really thought of like some of the teams as just like unbeatable at times. And like they were like when I saw Jonna and Anna and Jonathan show up in the train.
You found their portmanteau right in
Yeah.
the finale.
It was almost like the air went out of my sails because I just felt like they were going to beat us. And it did wound up being a puzzle, which sucks because that is one of the challenges that like they probably beat us in 9 times out of 10. But I don't know what the secret was. I think it was like just our communication and our well-roundedness. Like we did a lot of preparation for the show and tried to do just as many different things as we could to get ourselves ready. And I don't know, what else do you think?
Yeah, I think that we did go in thinking that we could do this. I know a lot, it's like very popular to be like, no, I had no idea. But sincerely, we went in thinking we can absolutely win this show. And then we showed up, and honestly, the competition on this season, and I'm a fan of the show, big fan of the show. This competition was wild. Like, and it was so fun. I love it. I wanted to compete against some of the best people. And I'll stand on my grave saying that they're some of the best people that we competed against. Alyssa's a beast, and that, like she said, that was my tension the whole day, and I wish I didn't have it, but was that fear of like someone showing up to the train station, Jonathan and Anna showing up to that train station, and I saw it in her eyes, and I was like, no, because Alyssa, when confident, no one can stop her. We play tennis, and like it's so frustrating for me because I could be up by everything. She got to be at love still, and she'll come back and beat me, and so that was the thing. And but we do work well together, and it was just so stressful, Mike. So yeah.
What is one thing you wish we got the opportunity to see that didn't make the edit? Either, something comedically that happened, personally, strategically, maybe that we didn't get to see over your time on the race.
What do you want me to say?
Well, I feel like strategically it was you trying to take down this alliance.
That's exactly what I was.
We heard like early in the season, we quickly realized the social game of the Amazing Race this season was going to be more important than any other season because Dill was throwing out things like you're going to be able to affect other people's race. You're going to like there's going to be twists every leg. So we instantly were like, okay, our social game is going to be more important than we thought. And this one turned into like quite the little schemer. And when he heard a word about there being any type of alliance between Jack and Carson, Scott and Lori, and Anna and Jonathan, it was like his mission to bring it.
I was not having it. No chance. No chance. As soon as I heard, I thought that, and you see it in the show when they say we have like this loose alliance. I thought that loose alliance was in blood. I thought they are tied up. So I said I'm going to come after all of them. And so the double U-turn, we got Scott and Lori, Jonathan and Anna, like that part of the alliance, and then I kept coming for Jack and Carson, and I wanted to get them so bad, and even like I would bring it up with people, but they are so lovable, and that's what made me afraid of them too. If someone I met them and I'm like, I like you so much, that makes me afraid of you on this show, because on any show, if I like you automatically, you're terrifying to me. And so it was so hard to like get them, people didn't want to do it. So I was after that alliance the entire time.
Well, you speak about lovability, and I want to turn that mirror back onto yourselves because I'm sure you've experienced over this season. I think a lot of people found a lot of positivity, and necessarily so, I think, in the wholesomeness and the passion and love that the two of you have for each other. I'm sure you never necessarily wanted to go onto the race to be like highlighting your own relationship in comparison to other people. But what has that experience been like for you to have people be able to talk about the way that the two of you regard and support each other and perhaps try to sort of assign it to their own relationships and their own lives?
I we didn't know how people were going to perceive us. We didn't know how we were going to come off, and we prepared ourselves. I mean, I think anyone going on reality TV has to prepare themselves for what could happen online and the
Yeah.
comments you could receive. And the love that we've received is overwhelming. It's amazing. I'm so glad that people look like I get DMs being like, I want my daughter to watch this and tell her that she needs to find a husband like yours,
Oh
and
my
like to
God.
tell her not to settle until she has someone like him. And like I make her watch this and like look and uh, like that touches me like more than anything. Of course I believe that and I know that in my life. I see it every day. But like for other people to get to see that and for like Josiah to be that inspiration and us like our love story to be an inspiration, like it means more than I ever could have seen coming out of the show.
I have to say I get so much of that, and like that's so heartwarming and touching. But like I've always said that like if I had a daughter and never met Alyssa, I'd want my daughter to look up to Alyssa. Like she's a strong, intelligent, like beautiful woman, and like kind, and she's just a great person. So I know that it's like, oh look, this guy's being nice to his wife. That's wild. But like my wife is like this incredible human being, and I think that everybody who knows her would say, of course she is. Like everyone knows she's out of my league, and it's like an ongoing joke that her grandma's like, she's way too good for you. And I love her grandma, but like that's just the truth of it, Mike. Her oma's like, Josiah,
And she
like
didn't
you
even get to
should.
see when she called you a dick on the raft.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't be surprised. She was like, "That's right, Josiah. You're good." But yeah, and it's like I said to you last night, Mike. Like what I love about reality TV is that you get to see a reflection of people in their real life under stressful, challenging, competitive scenarios, and I love that. I love that, and just to be a small part of that, like Chip and Kim to me will always be
Yeah.
heroes to me. You know, their relationship to me was so freaking awesome, and we talked about it when we were watching it. So either way, just to be a small part of that for people is like so humbling more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such an immense pleasure to not only watch the two of you, but talk to you as well. And again, I think that even just talking with you really goes to show that the way you two were and the way you regarded each other, especially, was wholly represented on the show, and is something that I think a lot of people can aspire to. And look, apologies if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think if you have even an ounce of the passion and energy and love for what's to come as you have for each other, I think this kid's going to turn out to be amazing. So thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you both
Thank you.
That's
so much.
thank
It's
you.
no, oh my God. I mean, the pleasure was all mine. It was an absolute blast to get the chance to talk with you last night and to talk with you this morning as well. And thank you both sincerely for everything you brought to our screens, everything you brought today. I wish you, Alyssa, nothing but the best. I hope everything, goes well with what's to come with the future for the two of you. And sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. It
And
means the world
Mike,
to me.
every week we've looked forward to
Yeah.
your podcast and we love listening to you. Thank you for your support, your coverage of everything. It's so much fun and like
The
it's
authenticity.
yeah.
Like meeting you last night, I was like, this is who I imagine on a podcast, and I'm talking to this
Oh my
person. So
God.
it means so
Likewise.
much. Yeah.
Likewise to the two of you. Again, I wish you both nothing but the best and everything you could ever want in the world. Thank you both again.
Thank
It's
you,
been an
Mike.
absolute pleasure. You have a great one.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Mike.
much,
Have a
Mike.
good one.
Bye.
Bye.